Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to another In the Style of tutorial. This is Dan Francis Owen. I hope you're all well and you've been practicing hard. Today we're going to be looking at the mighty Paul Jackson. Now Paul Jackson is most famous for his allegiance with Herbie Hancock and the Headhunters, who in the 70s they paved the way for the future of contemporary music. So in this lesson we're going to be looking at some of the key approaches within Paul's playing for playing with the Headhunters, and to do this I've composed a short study piece which encompasses some of Paul's approaches. So without further ado, let's check it out.
2, 3, 4.
So the main groove is based on a C minor 7 chord. Although the groove does use more colourful notes of the harmony, i.e. the 3rd, the 7th and some added chromaticism, the groove actually uses these more colourful notes more sparingly and predominantly uses the root, the 5th and the octave. By using this harmonic approach, this gives the rest of the ensemble, especially those harmonically involved instruments such as keys or guitar, it gives them the opportunity to fill the harmonic gaps and take the groove or the tune into different harmonic directions, and then combine this harmonic simplicity, if you will, with like the predominantly semiquaver based groove and the on top of the beat feeling. This gives the whole groove, the whole tune, a great sense of forward motion.
3, 4.
Now, I want to talk about Paul Jackson's approach to developing the groove on actual proof, and how his playing style affects his variations. So one of the first things that you might notice from listening to Paul's playing on actual proof, and also throughout the whole of the album Thrust, is his almost displaced type of variation, nature of playing. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term displacement, I'll just give you a quick description of that. So basically, displacement is you take a musical phrase, a groove or an idea, you take it in its exact context, so harmonically and rhythmically, and you put it and start it on a different beat of the bar. For example, if you had a phrase which started on beat 1, you would take it in its exact rhythm with its exact harmony, but just start it on beat 2 and, for example. And that is displacement. Although this study piece doesn't include displacement directly, the effect is implied by the use of alternate octaves to the main groove, integration of dead notes, rearrangement of the notes of the main groove, and leaving some notes out, for example in bars 3, 7 and 13. Another key aspect of Paul's playing, which I personally love, is his integration of melodic lines and licks. For example, in bars 10 and 11 of the study piece. In bar 10, this is actually one of Paul's licks which he uses in actual proof. He uses it on a sus chord, and he uses it to outline the 7th, the 6th and the 5th of a sus chord. In the context of the study piece, we're using it on an A flat sus chord, or the way the chord is written in the study piece is a G flat major 7 over A flat, and we are using it to outline the 7th, the 6th and the 5th. Let's check out the notes. So the 7th is a G flat, the 6th, the F, and the 5th, E flat. Paul would tend to use this idea when there is more space in the music for the bass to play in the higher register, and also when there's space for the bass to occupy some of the more melodic regions of the music. Then at bar 11, Paul might use something like this pentatonic, bluesy, funky type of lick, which outlines a C minor triad. This lick is integrated into a groove variation which steps away from the main groove and then comes back into something closer to the main groove on beats 3 and 4 of bar 12. Also, using this lick at the top of a 2-bar groove adds further to the implied displacement idea, as opposed to playing a lick or a fill at the end of an 8-bar phrase or an even barred section, which can sometimes feel too obvious and also can be a very popular space up for grabs for the rest of the ensemble as well, especially drummers. As a bass player, obviously you need to keep the groove alive, but I'm sure there are, everyone's got them. Everybody has a back pocket full of killer licks that they like to whip out. But the way I like to see it is that you have to find the right space in the music for people to hear these licks, and you have to use them tastefully. If you can find the space in the music to get them out, this is going to be really effective, because 1, you're going to be enriching the music by putting yourself into it, and then 2, you're going to be exciting the other musicians on the stage that you're playing with, because you're integrating this fill, this variation, you know, this different harmonic idea. You know, the other guys in the band are going to go, oh yeah, I'm with you there, I'm with you, I got you. Oh yeah, let me put that in. So you're going to be inspiring and exciting the other musicians that you're playing with, and like I'm saying, they'll react to that, and then all of a sudden you've got all these great new musical ideas flying around, and then you've just got some great music. Another approach that Paul might use where there is harmonic space is to play more linear. Now what I mean by this is to play more sequential or more scalic. By using this idea, it moves the section, the tune and the rhythm section along nicely with a great sense of forward motion and direction. For example, in bar 9. So with every In the Style of tutorial, I like to try and give you some different approaches to your practice. And this doesn't always mean technical exercises. The purpose of technical exercises is so that you can keep your tools, your digits, in great physical shape for you to execute the music. Now, when you take a close look at music, all it is a combination of scales, arpeggios, intervals, chords, and rhythm. Just like the English language is a combination of vowels, consonants, words, and then you combine this with dialect, rhythm of speech, and characterful elements, then you have something totally unique and what some people might call a style. I'm going to run with the language analogy for now, so stay with me. So when you're learning a language, one of the biggest pieces of advice that you could get is that you have to spend some time in the country of the language that you're learning, and this is called immersion. And in my opinion, this is no different with music. So for example, if I know that I have some gigs coming up which are going to take, which I need to do some prep for, or there's a style of music or a player that I'm trying to absorb or take something from, what I'll do, I'll be constantly listening. I'll be listening when I'm driving, when I'm walking, when I'm on the tube, when I'm in the supermarket, while I'm cooking. So this is essentially immersion. You're cultivating your environment so that when you arrive into a musical environment or scenario, you are as comfortable and relaxed as possible, and so that it feels as natural as possible. Now, what I mean when I say natural is natural just like your native tongue. You don't think when you're speaking your native language. You act and respond within your nature and your behaviour. You act in your nature and your behaviour in the environment naturally, and you just do your thing. But to get to this point in music, there's 3 things that you need to do. 1, you need to practice your technical exercises. 2, you need to study the music, the player. And 3, you need to immerse yourself in that. Thanks for tuning in once again, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial on Paul Jackson and his approach to playing with the Headhunters, specifically on thrust. We've literally scratched the surface. There is a lot more to learn from this guy. He's a master, seriously. So I'd recommend that you go and find all the other Headhunters records. There's some in the suggested listening. Check those out. Transcribe his bass lines. And another cool thing that you could do is check out the relationship between Paul Jackson's playing and drummer Mike Clark. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there, especially rhythmically. Anyway, don't forget to hit subscribe, get in touch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'd love to hear from you, and get practicing. And remember that there's always something to learn from every bass line. I'll see you next time.